Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app, O'Connor and Company.
An announced ceasefire, a plan to withdraw troops, and a promise of the release of hostages and hope in the Middle East. What a way to start the morning. It's 5:07, and thanks for joining us here. At 7:05, we're going to talk to Russell Noble, a Judicial Watch attorney who was part of that Supreme Court argument yesterday over mail-in ballots. 7:35, Senator Marsha Blackburn of Tennessee. 8:05, Ron Halber of the Jewish Community Relations Council. 8:15, Caroline Glick, advisor to Prime Minister Netanyahu. We'll talk to her from Israel. And at 8:35, Tomas Dietrich, artistic director of the Stuttgart Ballet in town at the Kennedy Center for the first time in several decades. A lot of history going on this morning, and I'm glad to have my friend Bethany Mandel side by side with me. Bethany, I can't think of a better person to have with me today, as you've been such a devoted activist for the families of those hostages being held over 2 years now. What's it like? Are you walking on clouds right now?
I'm running on so little sleep, I can't tell you, and I'm dancing. I'm so happy, I can't even tell you.
I'm excited to get your direct insight into all of this, too. But real fast, here's how it sounded on Fox News as Trey Yingst, on-the-ground reporter in Israel, announced to their viewers what happened.
Yeah, Sean, good evening. It's a historic moment in the Middle East. President Trump announcing that both Israel and Hamas have signed on to the first phase of his 20-point peace plan to end the war inside Gaza. This means that 20 living hostages will be freed from Hamas captivity. They'll be exchanged for nearly 2,000 Palestinian prisoners, and Israeli forces will have to withdraw from certain lines inside Gaza. They will still stay within the enclave, but they will pull back a bit. All of this came together just a few hours ago. President Trump sending his Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff and his son-in-law Jared Kushner to Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt. They were joined by Turkish officials and Qatari officials to try to hammer out the final pieces of this agreement and bring it across the finish line. Then President Trump got that information from Secretary of State Marco Rubio, ultimately making the announcement on Truth Social that a deal was reached for the first phase of his agreement. This is going to alleviate suffering for Palestinian civilians. It is going to reunite the hostages with their loved ones, and it's going to enter into a chapter where the Middle East can work to formally end the war inside Gaza, bring that conflict to an end, and ultimately open up the door for more peace agreements between Israel and its Arab neighbors. I can tell you I've covered this story for more than 7 years, Sean. This is the first time that I can remember where Israelis and Palestinians were celebrating the same thing. Sean?
Wow. All right, Bethany, what's your reaction to this? And I know, like I said, you've been in contact with the families of the hostages for, well, really since the beginning of the terror attacks of October 7th. I know that you've been active in trying to advocate on their behalf, not just through PR and getting the word out, but also behind the scenes with members of this administration and the last administration. So should we be as happy as it seems like we should be with this announcement?
I mean, the beautiful thing about this deal is that it uncoupled the return of the hostages, all the hostages, from the end of the war. And that was something that was a sticking point for a long time because Hamas had unreasonable demands. They basically wanted to have their cake and eat it too after starting a genocidal war. And the Trump team were able to get all of these allies, Qatar, Egypt, Turkey, on board with this deal without tying it to the definite end of the war. And so every previous ceasefire exchange deal that has happened for hostages and Palestinian prisoners has come, with a phase 2 and a phase 3, and we never got there. And so we didn't get all those hostages home. And so Trump was able to flip it and say, hostages come home first. That's the first thing that happens. And the deal is about to be signed literally any minute, actually. And then within 72 hours, they're supposed to return all of the hostages. All 20 will be returned that are alive. And then the remaining 28, I don't know how many of those bodies we're going to get back, probably a little more than half. And Hamas probably doesn't know where the rest are. And this is as good as it's going to get. And from the perspective of American Jews and Israelis and everyone who cares about decency, the return of the hostages was a top priority, and really, really grateful that we have President Trump and not President Kamala, because this would not have happened.
You think that with that? Because we've got some audio, and I don't even know if we'll dwell too much on it because, honestly, across the board, it's been praised for the administration, for President Trump personally, who took a personal interest in this. I think from the moment he met those hostage families and some of the former hostages. I remember that day at the CPAC event when they were all there, and he met them backstage, and then they came to the Oval Office the next day, and he did seem changed after that. But there have been some, of course, on the left in the media who refuse to look at a good thing and actually be excited about it. It was that, in fact, I think it was Chris Hayes, the Maddow understudy on MSNBC, that said, well, the Biden administration really had this deal in place anyway. And Trump sort of blew it up at the beginning and then remade it just because he wants a Nobel Peace Prize. And this would have happened probably easier. You have no doubt that Kamala Harris would have ruined this. No,
100%. I mean, because the bad guy to her was Israel. That was the party that she believed we had to apply pressure to in order to exact a peace deal. The pressure was on Israel. And so, I think we saw after, honestly, the assassination attempt in July that this was God's hand in President Trump being elected. And there's so many data points to point to on that. But this is a huge one.
It seems to me, if I could, the distinction here is that from Kamala Harris and from the left and from the Democrats involved in this, and some of the institutional State Department types who never seem to go away, they always led with, what do we need to do to get Israel to withdraw? And Trump led every statement and every approach with, what do we do to get Hamas to release the hostages?
Yes.
It was like that. That was the number one point. We got to release this house. Then we can talk about everything else. And that seams to be the way this is structured, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's wild to me because I worked with the hostage families from mid-October, honestly, 2023 up until this point. And it became so I was helping them set meetings. I would go to meetings with them. I would help book media appearances. I would prep them for media. And so I noticed, especially towards the end of the Biden administration, that it became increasingly difficult to get them in a room with any Democrat, really. But the Biden administration, it just felt like completely shut down. Whereas everyone in the Trump administration has been meeting, and I was not necessary. I had very little to do with anything because the Trump administration were so proactive in wanting to meet with the hostage families as much as humanly possible. Caroline Leavitt to Marco Rubio. I mean, and one of the things I really appreciated was Rubio at the Kennedy Center on October 7th when he spoke. He really gave the hostage families the recognition that they deserve because a lot of people don't think about how difficult it must be to go around for 2 years begging for the release of your loved one after you've experienced a traumatic event. But it was grueling for 2 straight years. And I remember spending a day on the Hill with the brother of a hostage about a year ago. And he had to take pot breaks. He had to go outside and smoke a joint to just cool his nerves because he was so shaky, and it was just nonstop for 2 years. And that those efforts to make this crisis personal and real for so many in power was instrumental.
Yeah, well, it's a historic moment, and we've got more details on how this is all going to shake down, what's ahead, what I's need to be dotted and T's to be crossed before those hostages are released, which, as Bethany just told you, could be imminent as early as 72 hours from now. And the day that they are scheduled to be released has some significance. We'll share that with you and a little bit more on this historic peace deal, it appears, in the Mideast between Israel and the Hamas terrorists in Gaza. That's coming up in a sec, 1 minute from now. First, though, it's 5:15 WMAL.
WMAL, making sense of the news. Live from the Home Paramount Pest Control Studios. Home Paramount, the leader in pest control since 1939.
Your next $1,000 could be one text away. It's 5K a day on WMAL.
So this hour in Egypt, right now,
yes,
it's expected that the negotiators at the Red Sea resort Sharm el-Sheikh will be signing the agreement. In fact, I don't have a monitor in front of me, but do you see, Bethany, if that is occurring?
Yeah, I'm seeing reports on Israeli social media that it was just signed. It was supposed to be signed at 5 a.m., so it's right on target.
Great.
And then the Gazan authorities have told folks in Gaza don't move until the ceasefire is in effect.
Right.
And so it just is. That's it.
All right. And then today at 5 p.m., Prime Minister Netanyahu will convene a meeting of his security cabinet to approve the agreement, which seems a little, after the fact. But these are the rules, I guess, of the parliament and such. That's supposed to. That's 5 p.m. their time, which is 10 a.m. our time, Eastern time. Trump is planning to travel to Egypt sometime in the coming days, and apparently he told CNN that Israel wants him to give a speech to the Knesset, which is the Israeli parliament. And the hostages are now announced to be likely released by Monday, or will it be sooner than that, Bethany? What are you hearing?
So I am hearing that I misspoke a little bit. So the ceasefire doesn't go into effect until the Israeli security cabinet sign off on it in a few hours. So there's still a few more hours, but it has been signed. It's not in total effect until a few more hours. And then Israel has been provided information about the hostages, and the releases could happen as early as Saturday. It's probably unlikely. It's probably going to happen on Monday. And then there's going to be so in the past, what they've done is they've grouped all the hostages based on geographically where they are physically located. So they'll probably release them in batches, and then the bodies are going to be a little bit more difficult.
All right. So. And this coincides, maybe not to the day, but coincides with the same holiday on the Hebrew on the Jewish calendar that was being celebrated at the Nova Festival October 7th, because of course the Jewish calendar is a lunar calendar. So they're actually, it appears they're going to be released on the same day as that very holiday they were celebrating, the day of the October 7th attacks.
Yes. So Simchat Torah, which is the joy of the Torah, it's one of our most joyful holidays. And it's, it was so painful that this happened on Simchat Torah. They intentionally chose a beautiful, holy holiday to wage this attack. And unfortunately, a lot of Army people were not on their bases, which is why they were able to be so successful, because the Army had, sent people home for the holiday. Yeah. And a lot of people who, including people that, I came to know their families, they were visiting their homes for the holiday in the kibbutzes near Gaza. And so there was a number of people who were taken from this kibbutzim who were not even living there at the time. They were just visiting their families. Wow. So to have them returned to the day feels a little on the nose. I'm a believer, and it feels a little too coincidental. Things
align. I got to say, it looks as though the strategy of the Trump team going in was, first of all, swing back the influence from the White House back over to Israel, the good guys, where it belongs, instead of trying to play it down the middle and say, well, yeah, both sides have a point. No, both sides don't have a point in this in any way whatsoever. Yeah. Swing back the power of influence over to Israel, number one. And number two, be open to Israel meeting its objective, which was to eliminate Hamas, and not be worried about people screaming from the UN Security Council about it. Number three, emphasize over and over again, you get nothing until you release the hostages. You get nothing until you release the hostages. Number four, isolate Hamas. Don't forget the bombing of the Iran nuclear facilities, that extraordinary military mission, looms large here. Number one, because it proves that Trump is willing to give the go-ahead for a military strike in that region and not worry about, the fear of some kind of fallout. That also cut off a big supplier of Hamas and really sort of isolated Hamas. And then when they got close to this deal, Bethany, to have all of those Arab nations immediately put out a statement saying, we love this, this is great, we back this. Hamas had no other options at this point. They had no more leverage. They had no more friends. They had no more funding. And just recently, as all of this occurred, you started to hear the name Jared Kushner in the mix. Jared Kushner was not he doesn't work for the administration. He was not involved in these discussions that we know of for the last several months, only in the last couple of weeks. He was instrumental in the Abraham Accords and Trump won. Do you think that Kushner was the difference maker here?
I don't think that he was the difference maker, but I think his presence really added gravitas. And there's a lot of mistrust of Steve Witkoff in Israel because of ties with Qatar. And so to have Kushner there added a lot more trust back into the mix on the Israeli side. But I think also, I think the difference maker, honestly, was the failed assassination attempt in Qatar, in Doha, when the Israelis tried and failed to kill the top leaders of Hamas in Qatar, and that was the first time that Israel had bombed Qatar and violated their sovereignty. I'm not sorry about it. I don't think anyone in Israel is sorry about it. But I think that the Qataris realized, like, oh, dear. Not only did they do this, but they must have had the Americans' approval to do this.
Right.
And the calculation changed. And so Amit Siegel, who has a wonderful newsletter that I really strongly recommend, he has said that it was the most successful failed assassination attempt in history.
Fascinating.
And I think that that's right. I think that really was the game changer a month ago.
All right. That's interesting. I just think it's extraordinary. There hasn't been a lot of attention paid to the fact that Kushner is now at the highest levels involved in these discussions, and he doesn't even work for the administration. It's just the son.
He swooped in.
He's the president's son-in-law, and now we have peace. Interesting stuff, and much will be said about it. We are hopeful. We're excited. We're positive, and so far it appears there's no reason. The only reason not to be all in and put all your eggs in one basket is we're still dealing with Hamas. That's the only thing that keeps looming over it.
I know. It's scary.
And until those beautiful angels are freed and returned back to their families, we're all still holding our breath a bit. It's 5:24. All right. We've got more on this peace deal. It's developing as we speak over there in the Middle East. We'll give you the updates, the latest. We'll look back on how it was announced yesterday. The extraordinary moment when Donald Trump got the word from Secretary of State Marco Rubio, whisper in the ear, really something to behold, history in the making. We'll get to that as the morning develops, including a conversation with an advisor to Benjamin Netanyahu, Caroline Glick, in the 8 o'clock hour. Coming up next, we've got an update on the Katie Porter drama in California. It's good. You'll want to hear it.
WMAL FM, Woodbridge, Washington, a Cumulus media station. Making sense of the news. News Talk 105.9. News now. Now on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
It's 5:37. It's O'Connor and Company. We keep saying it over and over. It's an amazing time to be alive and have a front row seat to the events of the world here in Washington, D.C. and on this radio station. And we're not done, of course, analyzing and unpacking the extraordinary peace agreement announced yesterday by President Trump between Israel and Hamas and the way forward there. We're going to discuss it all morning long. There's a lot else going on in the news, too. 7:05, Russell Nobile, Judicial Watch attorney who argued before the Supreme Court yesterday about mail-in ballots. 7:35, Senator Marsha Blackburn on the government shutdown and on, the fact that the FBI spied on her during the Biden administration. 8:05 brings us Ron Halber of the Jewish Community Relations Council. 8:15, Caroline Glick, an advisor to Benjamin Netanyahu. And then 8:35, Tomas Dietrich, artistic director of the Stuttgart Ballet. I love saying Stuttgart. I don't know why. It just makes me feel really fancy. You should take the kids to the ballet.
I should. So it's actually funny. I was at the Kennedy Center a couple days ago when they had just arrived and the ballet were touring around the building. Yeah. And they were like, "Are you a photographer?" And I was thinking to myself, maybe I should just fake it. Right? I'll just skip that meeting with Rick Cornell, and I'm just going to walk around the ballerinas.
Absolutely. Well, it's funny, Roma Davari, who we have on the show quite a bit, who is the comms director now for the Kennedy Center, she used to be a ballerina.
I know.
And I saw her at Spicer's promotion ceremony, and I said, "So did you work out with Stuttgart?" And she's like, "Yeah, actually, I did."
Oh,
I got
that's
to work
so
out
sweet.
with the Stuttgart. It's very cool. We're speaking of the Kennedy Center. There's a scheduled event tonight, this evening, at the Kennedy Center that had been scheduled already to give tribute to the families of the hostages and to continue to raise awareness on the October 7th atrocity. But and we're scheduled to be at that event tonight. Bethany, Meredith, and I will be there. We'll see you and
Seth
and your family and Seth. But it's going to take on a different tone, I think, tonight. I should hope after all of this.
I should hope. I hope that all the hostage families are going to be on planes. But if not, I'm going to give them hugs.
Exactly, but hopefully they're going home to see their loved ones. It's incredible. More on that story, as I mentioned. Now, you'll remember yesterday we introduced you to, if you didn't already know her, a 3-term Congresswoman and now gubernatorial candidate after being a failed Senate candidate, Katie Porter of Orange County, California, because she melted down in an interview where she arrogantly said that she doesn't need Trump supporters. To hell with Trump supporters. And then she went to war with the interviewer. If you missed any of that, here's a little flavor of it. Cut 3. Take a listen.
What do you say to the 40% of California voters who you'll need in order to win, who voted for Trump?
How would I need them in order to win, man?
Well, unless you think you're going to get 60% of the vote. You think you'll get 60%. Everybody who did not vote for Trump will vote for you. That's what you're saying.
In a general election, yes. If it is me versus a Republican, I think that I will win the people who did not vote for Trump.
So this is so devastating for the Democrats because, and again, people, I think, are not clear as to why this is so significant. First of all, you have to understand that in California, they don't just take the top Democrat, top Republican in the primary. They take the 2 top vote getters. In many cases, sometimes statewide, it's 2 Democrats. So if it ends up being 2 Democrats, you're going to need people who voted for Trump to vote for you if you want to be the governor, number one. But number 2, if they want to be a big boy grown-up national party, the Democrats have to come to terms with the fact that they are in the minority right now. They've spent 10 years attacking Trump, and now next national election, they're going to have to try to figure out how to get some of those people to vote for them. Otherwise, they're going to stay in the minority for as long as the eye can see. This is not what the Democrats want right now.
Larry, I think that you're being unkind and uncharitable. She obviously knows what she's doing, and you should just let her do what she's trying to do.
Well, that's
okay?
true. I mean, far be it for me to give them advice or Katie Porter any advice. You're right. You keep doing. Well, the other part of this story, and I think you're starting to hit on it, is this is friendly fire. She's being attacked by other Democrats.
Yes.
And personally, I think it's Gavin Newsom's office.
Yes.
Trying to take her out.
So the part that I loved about that interview was she, and I'm paraphrasing a little bit, she basically said, I signed up for a nice, friendly interview.
Yes.
And she's like, I didn't sign up for a back and forth.
You're not giving me a full body massage like reporters usually do. What's wrong with you?
And they cannot, it does not compute. And so when they're faced with actual opposition, I mean, this is what makes conservatives, especially in the last, 15, 20 years, so powerful and potent. Folks like, folks in my generation who we have lived, first of all, we went to college on very hostile campuses. And then we've lived in the D.C. area and had to fight with our neighbors and all of the
at our Facebook pages and the grocery store.
Yes, it makes us extremely good at arguing and making our case and fine-tuning our case and making us the best that we can be. And they have not had that advantage.
No,
they are, when they're faced with a non-friendly interview, they're like, ooh.
Well, and even randos in social media, if they don't like the way the conversation's going, they go to Blue Sky. They go somewhere else. They stay. The bubble keeps getting smaller and smaller and smaller. All right, so this is friendly fire for Katie Porter, as I mentioned, because now we've got a new leaked video. This is when she was a congresswoman. She was doing a thing with Jennifer Granholm, the former energy secretary, about electric vehicle subsidies or anything. And they had it all staged. Because she's just a normal suburban mom in her kitchen in Irvine, California. And then a staffer, she got something wrong about the subsidies. So a staffer came into the back of the shot on her laptop to correct her. Right? This was taped. It wasn't a live thing. And listen, 6A, this is Katie Porter talking to someone on her staff when she came in to help her out. Listen, 6A.
That we're going to lose more than 500,000 Californians dying prematurely to air pollution and other problems. And the state could lose. Get out of my shot.
I wanted to tell you that that's actually incorrect. It's not that it's electric vehicles. It's that if we don't meet the commitments under the Paris Climate Accord.
Okay, it does. Okay, You also were in my shot before that. Stay out of my shot.
God, I'm sorry. I'm terrified of this woman.
So you should be. So she has some of the highest I think it's 3 times as much turnover in her office as anyone else on Capitol Hill. She was the member of Congress who fired someone via text.
Yes.
Viciously via text.
Yes.
And just I know that I'm preaching to the choir because it's 5:44. There's so many Hill staffers on their way to the office right now.
They all know. Oh yeah.
But this is not how you win elections and influence people.
Listen to this. The latest on this. Rhonda Elaine Fox. She is the founder of Persist. She's the former women's engagement director for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. And she said of this video, I've seen Katie Porter in action, and it was enough for me to know that I steadfastly support women's leadership. However, in this instance, Katie Porter should consider retiring. She's the worst example of women's leadership, and I was shocked to see Emily's List endorse her. The walls are crumbling down on Katie Porter's career. It's 5:45 WMAL. By the way, she's still the front runner for governor of California.
And I wish her the best of luck.
Absolutely.
Mark Levin, weekdays 6 till 9 on 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news.
Dolly Parton is eternal, Bethany Mandel, and there have been rumors that she's had a health scare. Her sister took to social media and asked for prayers for her, and suddenly everybody was in a panic because we can't think of life without Dolly. And so yesterday she released a video looking amazing again, by the way. And I know a lot of it is sort of, wigs and straps and elastic and things going on. But still, here's what she said to her fan base to let everyone know that she, as she put it, I ain't dead yet. Listen.
Hey, Natalie, bring your camera over here. I want to say something. Well, today's October the 8th, and obviously I'm here doing some commercials for the Grand Ole Opry, which is why I'm dressed kind of like a country western girl. But before I got started, I wanted to say, I know lately everybody thinks that I am sicker than I am. Do I look sick to you? I'm working hard here. Anyway, I wanted to put everybody's mind at ease, those of you that seem to be real concerned, which I appreciate. And I appreciate your prayers because I'm a person of faith. I can always use the prayers for anything and everything. But I want you to know that I'm okay. I've got some problems, as I mentioned, back when my husband Carl was very sick. That was for a long time. And then when he passed, I didn't take care of myself. So I let a lot of things go that I should have been taken care of. So anyway, when I got around to it, the doctor said, we need to take care of this. We need to take care of that. Nothing major, but I did have to cancel some things so I could be closer to home, closer to Vanderbilt, where I'm kind of having a few treatments here and there. But I wanted you to know that I'm not dying. Did you see that AI picture of Reba and me? Oh, Lordy. I mean, they had Reba at my deathbed. And we both look like we need to be buried. But I thought, oh, my Lord. But if I was really dying, I don't think Reba would be the one at my deathbed. She might come visit me earlier. But anyway, there's just a lot of rumors flying around. But I figured if you heard it from me, you'd know that I was okay.
Wait.
So anyhow, that's what I wanted to say.
All right, so there you
I'm
go.
Not ready to die yet.
I ain't dead yet. So she's getting some treatments and she's put it off and she doesn't want to give any more, but she sounds great,
She's
for
a
woman.
delight. She's an American treasure.
Oh, I can't imagine. Like she's the one thing where so much is divided in this country, and sadly, even pop culture and entertainment, because people have who singers and actors have decided to stake their claim in politics as well. She never really has. I mean, she is the one thing we can all agree on, that she's just awesome. She's perfect.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Have you ever been to Dollywood? I really want to go.
No, Meredith is dying to go to Dollywood. We really should do the pilgrimage.
Let's do it. Let's do it together.
Oh my gosh, that would be a blast with your kids. Oh my Lord! All right, All right, maybe we'll make that happen. It's 5:53.